So we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. My name is Florence from Indigenous Women in Mining Resources Australia. And tonight we have with us Luarna, amazing superwoman from the Barada Barna Native Title Corporation. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I don't know how to live up to that introduction, but yeah.
Deadly. So as always, acknowledging the Noongar people in the country of which I am tonight and have been for a little while. I'm Dara Wutiti woman from Far North Queensland. And which are you, Luarna? Where are you at and where are you from?
I was born in Mackay. I was raised on Palm Island because my father's from Palm Island as well. So half my life was in Mackay and the other half was in Palm Island. So I've got good connection in both ways. And you know, I suppose grassroots ways too with our people. At the moment, I'm living on my country in Moranbah. I've moved here, me and my partner, for work and just to be closer to country and keep a closer eye on things here, making sure that the mining proponents live up to their end of the bargains. Keep onto them. Yeah. And I'll also like to recognise our people whose land I'm on. Well, past, present and future. A little bit nervous, sorry. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Look, this one you're trying to be tech, right?
Yeah.
No, I was going to say thank you so much for joining us because you're such a busy woman. Since the last time we caught up, which was what, a year and a half ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and at that time, I remember sharing your profile as an operator at Thiess at Peak Downs. You were there, and so now you're in a position where you're chairperson of your native title group, and thank you so much for being that strong woman for your journey. So I'd really love to kind of share that story with everyone. So tell me, like, how long were you in the industry for with Thiess and Peak Downs?
With Thiess, I stayed with them for about 18 months. And that was going good, like the training. I was getting all the training, doing the trucks, and it was a good journey. It gave me a good insight into the mines. And then, this came up and went to the elections for our annual general meeting and got voted on the board. And then the other directors who got voted on, they voted me as the chairperson. And then I just thought, well, I can't do both. I'm not that good. I can't, because Barada Barna Aboriginal Corporation, it's a big responsibility and it needed my full attention, I believe. So I ended up leaving the mining side, and it was good because it gave me the insight, into how the inner workings of the mine, which is good for when I'm sitting at the table negotiating ILUA's Indigenous land use agreements and stuff with the mines. And then they could tell me one thing, but I know different. So, yeah, that's where that happened.
And that's so amazing as well, and so when you were at Thiess as well, going through that program, so you were through the Sisters in Mining program there?
Yeah, that's right.
Tonight's broadcast. My name's Florence from Indigenous Women in Mining Resources Australia. That's a terrible voice.
Yeah, this boat has got its own mind. Yeah, sorry. I did the Sisters in Mining program. It was a really good program. One of the mentors, she was actually Barada Barna herself, Auntie Joan Smith, lovely old lady, and unfortunately due to health she had to quit doing that sort of side stuff. So Thiess have actually contacted me and asked if I would like to join their mentoring, to mentor other sisters. Yeah, so that's something maybe look down the track at. Always up for a challenge, new challenges.
Where you have time now, hey? You're so busy.
I know. Just never stops. Because as well as chairperson, I'm co-project manager with another guy. So I take on a lot of the responsibility with the administration side, organising the workers and getting all the cultural heritage clearance done for 27 mines. I think we've got about 3 wind farms, I know 2 wind farms, 4 solar farms, a gold mine, that many rock quarries. Yeah, so it's a big area and a lot of resources from it. And it's a big responsibility, but I love it. Always up for a challenge. Love being a boss.
I can tell. No, no, that's really good. And I think like there's so many questions that can come from that, because we often get a lot of women or, sisters that write in about, like, how do I get a traineeship? Like what's like, all those sisters in mining, what is that about? Like what questions do they ask, and, about that experience? And then we often always get the conversation around like, being a tradition, for people who aren't traditional owners, really trying to understand what it's like to be in the mining industry and to think about, well, like, how does that work? And, with our cultural obligations to country, like, how does that actually work? And it's so nice to have you out here tonight, and just to share your experience around that as well.
Yeah, well, it was a big eye opener, I tell you. And also having, because I knew I was traditional owner, but that's not why, when you apply for these jobs, you need to be like straightforward with them and show that you talk yourself up. Don't be ashamed, or don't act shame. Was talk yourself up. What you can do. Talk about safety. The mines love that. When you're out there, and if you ever feel culturally inappropriate, there's always, I can only speak for our mine, our country, but I'm sure if you like, if I was to go to Western Australia and I was having a cultural episode of some sort, I'd certainly speak to the traditional owners from that land to get some guidance, So, and I'm always here for anyone in the Bowen Basin, living locally too now. Far away.
Yeah, and that's so good as well. And we've got Takia as well. Takia's here. She loves you. We shared a picture last night. Not last night. Sorry, like last week. So she's deadly. She's telling you to be their mentor. So you definitely got one.
Started. I was so excited. I was like, yes, another black woman. Young girl, but she's a really nice girl, and she had her head straight. She was very. I said, don't be. You can be outspoken, but not too outspoken. If you see something, pull it up, straight up, but don't go overboard. Overboard. Some people like to go overboard, but she was pretty good, and I knew she's gonna go a long way in mining if she chooses to. She's got that good positive outlook about her, and that's what I told her. Just keep going, don't give up, don't let. And it's especially hard for us being a woman and being Indigenous in the mining industry. That's we had 2 things going against us. Because it was just men, surrounded by men and, Migleys, white men. So it was very exciting when she started. I was like, yes, I got a sister. We were laughing and joking. They were going, oh, Luarna, we didn't know you laughed. I said, yeah, you just don't get my jokes. Like another black woman can.
Yeah, that's so true. Like it's always nice to see other mob on site. You just feel at home straight away. Hey.
Yeah. And that's one of my goals, is to get more female Indigenous, female Murrays working out there, in this country. Of course, my priority would be for Barada Barna women, but, a lot of the times we can't fill the positions, and not just women, men too. And when that happens, I'm happy to, give the okay for outside countrymen, to come and have a go, and at least it's countrymen out there, That's the main thing. Because, it was, I can tell you, it was very hard for me doing this, because they split us up, like you didn't have your sister with you. You were in a different crew. So you had 4 crews, and we were all placed in 1 crew each. And like, it was just hard, like not throwing in the deep end. They tried to be nice, but then sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard in the sense of not having another black person there to talk to about things that they would not understand. So, and that's why I said to Thiess that it would be good if yes, you had a mentor, but someone who needs to be more hands-on, you know what I mean? So that they can just say, okay, it's not an issue, but I need to talk. And sometimes you just can't talk to just anyone. I mean, at the time I was so nervous, new to industry, and I just didn't talk at all. more or less. I just sat and soaked it in for 6 months. And they were like, "Are you okay? Is this how you normally?" After 6 months, after I felt comfortable and doing the role, they couldn't shut me up then. Yeah, but that was the way I handle things. I just soak it in.
And that's it. Like that's so common for us, when we're new to site, and especially being Indigenous and new to the country as well. Like we don't generally engage a lot. And for me, like I find that can be like, I don't know, like misconceived or like perceived, sorry, as like not that it's a safety issue, but like and then because like it's safety is a big thing and you need to communicate, then oh my God, like this person's not even saying anything. So like, from a leadership position, like how would you then say, oh my God, like, do they get it? Like, are they settling in well? Like, how can I engage? So how did you find that as well being, when you were on the trucks up there, like how big was your crew? And you were saying like there were no other Indigenous people on your crew as well?
Takira was the first one. So I was basically it. And then she came along and I was like, yes. Because, I knew more sisters were coming, so I was just happy. I was over the moon. Someone to talk to, bounce things off that, some non-Indigenous just don't understand. Will never understand, And it's just easier. I found it easier.
Yeah, and I guess so. This is like a question now in your position, chairperson. How do you then, like, what are some of the things that you're planning to do, like, just to improve that cultural safety at work? Like, what are the yarns that you're having with, the leaders of those companies, of those priorities and stuff? Like, how confident are you to say, yep, this needs to be done because we need more of our people in these roles?
Yeah, well, when we have negotiation meetings with the mines, we make sure they have jobs and traineeships on offer. That's a given. There is no two ways about it. For us, Barada Barna, we personally would rather see our people employed. Money's good, yes, that's good for compensation, to help our children, school children, etc., elders. But for those the middle age, school leavers and that, getting them on a job is more important. Gives them that independence, and then they don't have to weigh so much on handouts and that. They're financially independent. Yeah. And one of the key things that I'm trying to get going, and we have started it with BHP, is cultural awareness training. So we've been doing that now, but because of COVID, obviously that stopped. But we'll start that up again, and we're trying to we will get all the mines involved in the cultural awareness training. And maybe as part of their inductions also, when they start on site, doing a, like a SOP in cultural awareness, even if it's that, because obviously we can't get to everyone. There's thousands of workers out here. But I'd be happy for them to implement something like that, something that they have to pass to say, okay. And yeah, so I'm definitely working on that done.
I definitely think like that's an excellent expectation there as well. I think, there's a lot of commitments from industry around, being more culturally safe and all of that. So that's definitely an excellent tool for people to use. Because I feel that, from my own experience in my own conversations, that people just don't understand how to approach that conversation. So at least if you start to give people tools, they can start to engage better.
Yeah, that's that understanding, and especially the hierarchy, the managers and stuff, them doing the cultural awareness training, and then they get these Indigenous trainees coming on, and then they know how, why they're being quiet, why they're so nervous and shy and stuff. And we help to give them the tools to better understand our people. And not just Barna people, Australian Aboriginal Islander people.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, much the same. Hey, and then an interesting question, like for me, like a personal question, I suppose, from me to you, because a lot of people say, like, there's a thinking around you're an Indigenous person, why are you in mining? So what would you say to that? Like, as a traditional owner, like, you've got so much ownership, you're so empowered as a woman, I love it so much. Like, what would you then, like, how would you answer that question?
Well, the reason, like I said, why I went into mining, you can't stop it. You can fight it. You can try to fight it. It's inevitable. in the simple fact that the government's just going to overrule it. No matter what you say, no matter how much you put up an argument, look what happened with the Darnie. And, you know, that mine's still going ahead, no matter how much protest went on. And look at all the potential that, you know, those traditional owners could have missed out on, or may miss out on, because they, you know, and it is what it is in this day and age, and you have to learn to work with it, you know. And because we have so many mines out on this country, like 27 last count, there's nothing, you know, you just have to roll with it. And I suppose why should they have to get rich, you know, and live the better life off our land? Why not get our people out there working and get some benefits and live a better, you know, a richer life and a good life? That's the way I see it.
Yeah. And like, you know, there's so much innovation now in our industry. You know, we talk about sustainable mining, you know, we're getting much more better at rehabilitation and all that kind of stuff as well. Like, you know, all that mining talk. Because I think, you know, in collaboration, I think there is absolute opportunity for everyone to be, you know, to benefit from it. And like you said before, having people in jobs, you know, giving them that economic security, that's so empowering. So.
And there's so many parts to mining, you know. It's not just jumping in a truck and driving. You can actually be an environmentalist on the mine, making sure that country is looked after. You know, those are the sorts of positions that I'd like to see our people in, looking after the country that way, making sure that they're following the right protocols with what they're doing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I was reading a story, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago around with rehabilitation, where you're planting like medicinal plants, you know, so you bring that knowledge back to, you know, because I'm sure, you know, as traditional owners, you go out there as well to monitor and do all of that, you know, care for the country after the closure. Then that really brings about opportunity for cultural, you know, knowledge to be shared again, you know.
You see, on our country, we've got two major keeping places. One we call Pink Lily. It's like and there we have, it's like a beautiful big lagoon filled with pink lilies. We have a building there, and it's like a learning centre. And one of the things we do there, you know, we want to get children there to educate them, show them our we have a walking track that goes right around the lagoon, and it has you know, native plants and fruits and medicinal plants, all that sort of stuff. It's all signed up. It's like a good cultural learning place that we're trying to get. We do all their cultural awareness training there as well.
Wow.
In the winter, not in the summer, but I'm working on getting power there, electricity, so we can get aircon setting. Yeah, but we try to keep it as natural as possible anyway. And that's something I'm working with the schools here, to get the skills out there as part of their curriculum, to go there and learn about our country. Not just the mines, you know, because it starts with children. Change the mindset of children as they grow up. It'll change the way we are perceived.
Definitely. That's so amazing. And for me, you know, I've been through a couple of cultural awareness trainings as well with my, you know, the places that I've worked, and that would be such an amazing experience to actually be out on country and have all of that happen.
And you can see it. You can feel the artifacts. You know, we can teach you about how to identify it, and scar trees and stuff. Now, I'll give you an instance. One of the mines rang me up this morning. He said, "Hey, Luarna, you know, I know you've already cleared this area with your cultural heritage workers, but you know, one of the contractors stopped the work because he found a scar tree, and he didn't want to just bulldoze it over." I was like, "Oh, okay." He said, "Yeah, but you have cleared it twice, and we didn't even see it. Now this white man, this contractor, has found this scar tree in the middle of the bloody access road that they're trying to build." So they stopped the work, and that's because of the cultural awareness training that he was given, and he identified it and he stopped the work, which is really good and respectful. He could have just turned a blind eye. It's been cleared, but no, they didn't, which is really good. I said,
yeah. You should be, because that's amazing, hey, because it is that growing respect, really, more than anything. It's that mutual understanding and mutual respect for each other.
Yeah, no, it was really good. So I'll have to go down there at some stage and have a look and check it out. And yeah,
in your busy day.
Add it to one of the other duties.
Oh, that's amazing. And so, like, I'm just going to read some of these comments, and then I want to ask you a couple more questions. So Christina Coleman, she says, "Too deadly, Auntie. Your story is amazing," and it is. And thank you so much for sharing it. Takia there as well, be our mentor. Auntie Buckley, yes, we need cultural awareness at Dornier Mine Site. So, like, I'm just going to read some of these comments, and then that voice. That's terrible.
Turn it down.
Yeah, so that's good though. At least you can see them comments there, which is good. Dusty Walker there as well, perfectly said. Does mining? That's really good. So a question there: does mining affect the spiritual side for the Indigenous or Indigenous people, and how can we respect the spiritual views of Indigenous people? What would you say?
I didn't hear that question. Sorry, say again.
No, that's all right. So the question here about does mining affect the spiritual side of Indigenous people, and how can we respect the spiritual views of Indigenous people as well?
Oh, that's a good question. That one.
That's a big question. This fella asks the biggest questions.
Hey, like it goes back to before. If you, it's it's a very hard question. But, if you ever feel in doubt and you want to speak to someone, every mine knows who the traditional owners are. So that I'm sure that they would be able to get you in contact with someone if you have a cultural thing that happens to help you through it. For myself, I know it's hard, but like I said, that's progress. This is the life we live in the 20th century. We either roll with it or we lose out on it. And personally, I'd like to see, my great-grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so forth, benefit out of something out of this. Not just let them get rich and our people get nothing like before. And, what we do, and one thing I should mention, with Barada Barna, we have a socio policy where we assist our people through medical assistance, funeral funds, school education. Now with this COVID's on, we're buying laptops for our primary kids and high school kids. These are all the sort of things that we do get when we do get compensation monies, and rightfully so, for our kids. Otherwise, they went to the school to try and get a laptop. Sorry, we got none. And it's always our kids that are missing out. They said they were going to give every child a laptop. Well, no, not every child did get one. So we made sure that our children will get one. Yeah, I like that last question. You still got me thinking. I'll be thinking about that one for a while.
He asked good question. And I think for that, it's really being a part of the solution. Because like you said, progress is, mining is progress, industrial, we're growing as people. And so it's like, how do we do that sustainably by making sure that we're part of that solution as well? That's my, I guess, comment on that. So we've got Uncle Sam here as well. Thank you, Luarna, for your input on mining. You have some very good sense for our Indigenous people to jump on board and get to work in the mines as well. So like you said, 27 mine sites on your country. Would you say like rock? What are those things called?
Quarries.
Rock quarries, gold mine,
solar farm.
Yeah, and how? Yeah, that's such a huge responsibility as well. Like especially in the position that you're in. Like, how do you manage that as well? Like, what keeps you sane?
My 6 directors. They keep me grounded on top of things, and I'm good at delegating.
So I'm sure.
So yeah, no, on the board of directors, we've got 6 other amazing guys that do a really good job, and they make my job a lot easier, hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, that's good.
So
and
men down, but yeah, good to have a woman at the helm.
Yeah, and like you were saying before, like it was such like a traditionally male space as well. Like yes, mining, and then now into your new role as well.
Yeah.
So how have you found yourself like with your personal growth as a woman, like a strong woman that's in, you know, an excellent position.
Yeah.
What tips, I suppose, would you have out there for women who are also kind of climbing the ladder and you know, in these environments as well?
Well, along the way, you're always going to have someone telling you can't do this, you can't do that. Ignore that. You know you can. Just do it. You know, just put all that aside, push it to the back, and just keep soldering on. Don't give up. You know, I wouldn't be where I am today if I just gave up. And also surround yourself with people that are positive and going to be there for you. You know, and push you along, because although I am strong in the sense that I didn't give up, it was mainly because I had a lot of people that supported me too, to keep on with the journey, you know, and keep going and fighting for what was right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's so good to see. And like when we, you know, when we caught up again and you were telling us about where you are now, and I was just blown away. That's deadly.
Yeah. It's a male dominated world, but you know, us women, we can do it.
We are strong women. Oh, that's good. Carol here as well. Good night, Carol. We need to encourage more of our mob to be workplace trainers and assessors, so we can explain in our own lingo. So, what do you think of that? And what was your experience when you were operating?
Oh my God! With my trainers, I had multiple trainers. You know, it would have been good just to have one trainer to assess and train you right through. Eventually, I did have just the one trainer, which is good after about 6 months. But yeah, they need to come up with a better system with training these operators, you know, and like you said, especially with Indigenous people, you know, we're just not easily understood. And, you know, they want to go about theory, and we got two ways of learning, Maoris have. We're more doers and we learn as we go doing it, you know. Chuck me in a truck, I'll just do it, you know, and I did. So I was more or less like that, yeah. But I mean, you got to go to school, and it's hard. And that's one of the things I'm working with, you know, we in the board are trying to implement better ways of training for our people, especially out here. I can't really speak for other areas where other people are doing mining, but I certainly can speak for the Bowen Basin, and so we're making sure our people are well looked after, and not just Barada Barna people, Aboriginal and Islander people in general, you know. I want them to be able to just come to me if they have any issues, you know, that I can help them work through.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, because I know like we've got a lot of us mob that are on your country there that are not from there. So thank you for that, you know, that welcome and for us to be there, and for that open door as well to come to you. So,
definitely.
Thank you.
Because at the end of the day, we are one people, and we've got to support one another, you know. Especially, you know, that's just it.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Dusty. Amazing. And Anibako there as well. That's awesome. Okay. So going back to how do you document finds like that? So maybe that's more of like a bit more of a cultural question around like documenting like the fine, like that would be in that cultural heritage sense there, how you document it.
So the way we do it, when we have finds, we have GPS maps now, GPS gadgets. So whenever we find something, we mark the spot, we record it, what it was, we mark the spot. If we try not to remove artifacts if we don't have to, and trees. And if we can get around it, we'll try to. But if we have to remove it, we take it to our keeping places. And like I said, we document where it actually came from. So every piece of artifact that we've removed from country, we know exactly where it's going to go back to. It's been recorded. Right. So when the mine finishes and the rehabilitation's done, we take those artifacts back to country.
And the people that I've come across, like the geologists and archaeologists that I've met over time, like they have such respect for artifacts, you know, for country and culture. Like it's so beautiful, and they share that knowledge. And you know, when they do like, you know, carbon dating and all of that kind of stuff, like they actually share that knowledge with you. So it's really nice that, you know, that relationship.
Yeah, like we found a few fireplaces, you know, and carbon dated them for 10,000 years. It was just blew you away, you know. At one of our mines, that's another thing. We had found dinosaur bones, megafauna.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So they were like these big kangaroos and big wombats, And if you go to the Queensland Museum, or you can even search it on site online, they'll have a thing there about Barada Barna and the megafauna.
That's
And
amazing.
we do an interview with them next week.
You're doing an interview with them? Oh, deadly. We're going to have to, like, I don't know, link it to here or something, but that's so amazing. That would have been, that would have been amazing.
And I know, it's really good, recognition. And that's what it's about too, being recognised out here.
Imagine the kids, though.
Sorry?
I was going to say, imagine the kids when they found out that, you just found these dinosaur bones out there. They'd be just blown away.
Yeah, definitely. It was a big thing for Barada Barna. It was good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
They did a big page documents about it, so that'll come out in the next week or two, something like that.
It's another article on us. That's so good. Like it's good to know that you're really like building some great relationships and like showcasing like all that you have there on country as well, and sharing that, because that's inspiring our mob as well to want to do more things and to look into the STEM space and all of that, because I think that's such a kind of foreign space for us as well when you start to think about science and all that, but like really not so much. So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, very diverse out here.
Yeah,
this is what I like about it.
Yeah, that's good. So a question here as well, again from Darcy. So what benefits do you see from IWIMRA? Yeah, and do you have examples of how women can change and improved opportunities for their family and community? And can you say mob? So this fella's a Miglu as well. Yeah, you can. I don't know. What do you think, Luarna?
Yeah, the benefits I've seen from IWIMRA, especially, like it's good. It's empowering other women, Indigenous, even some non-Indigenous women. It's been nothing but positivity. It's a good support system, especially when you're new to industry. And you can come on here and you see other women, other Indigenous women who've been doing it, and you're like, okay, here's how I can get the questions that I want to know.
Yes, true.
And that's what I was doing when I started. And I had nobody, so I was coming to IWIMRA and like getting ideas from there, and talking to a few of the other ladies. So that was a very benefit for me.
Yeah, thank you. And we've got so many sisters that do ask questions, that message in and all of that. And on our live shows as well, we've had some really good questions, which is good. So yeah, it's all about helping each other. Thank you, Dusty. I brushed my hair today, so thank you. Deadly. Ani Bakoi there as well. So she's the one out at Dornia. They're doing some great things there. So they're starting to do some great things. So trainer sister. Yeah.
So we'll be starting cultural awareness training there. We've got one of our directors who actually works there as well.
Oh, good. So how often do you get to site there as well?
Whenever it's needed, It obviously can't get to any of the sites now because of COVID, but like whenever I want to, I just call them up. I want to come to site. I want to check something out. Yeah, okay. Simple as that.
Yeah, morning.
So I try to get out as much as I can. I don't like staying in the office. More of an outdoorsy, move around type person. Yeah.
No, that's really. And then I suppose like with like NAIDOC and that, I don't know, like apart from this year being COVID and that, like, do you plan, because you have 27 sites that are on your country, do you plan then to really suggest that there is that celebration and to do something in collaboration as well for everyone to celebrate?
Yeah, well, that was one of the things that in Moranbah and in all the small towns out here like Dysart, Middlemount, Nebo, we're trying to get we do NAIDOC celebrations on country in each town. The mines will donate towards that for that to happen. When it comes to the actual mines, when I was at Peak Downs, I said, well, why aren't you having a flag raising ceremony or a morning tea, something like that? I know we've got signs up. We've got little signs that they printed off the computer and Aboriginal Islander flags. I'm like, Yeah, okay, well, that's not good enough for me. So next mission, I'll be making sure that I want to see each year for NAIDOC flag raising. You know, there's Indigenous, there's got to be Indigenous people on every mine. You can't tell me there's not one. You can get out there and do the flag raising. It doesn't have to be from country, you know. Have a morning tea, things like that. Bit of recognition, you know. So, yeah, I'll be making that happen.
So, and I guess that's like a call out there as well for any of you mob out there that are in the Bowen Basin on Barada Barna Country. Let us know where you're at, where you're from. Chuck it in the comments, and yeah, it's going to be a big celebration now on that East Coast.
Yeah, we like our NAIDOC.
That's it, totally. So Sam there as well. Yes, I'm glad to see women in the workplace, and especially Indigenous women. And just sitting back listening, we have some very smart women, and I'm learning more and more just listening through this program. Thank you so much, Uncle Sam. Like, he's been an awesome supporter. He was on here last week having a yarn. So Ani Baku is going to get in touch with you.
Yeah, send me a message.
That might be Dornia, hey?
Yeah, send me a message on Messenger and we'll connect up somehow.
Yeah, so how can people contact you? Because we've got a lot of mob that do, you know, come across our, you know, IWIMRA as well. What is the best way to connect with you if they wanted to?
If you wanted to really connect with me, no. Okay. See that? Can you see that? Oh.
Can we see that? What's your, here, I'm going to post you. Oh, that is just a deadly, I have a photo of that. That is such a deadly thing. I'm going to put, what's your email there? I'm going to type it. LAU.
LUARNA.
Yep.
At baradabarna.com.au. LUARNA dot, oh, sorry, not dot, at Barada, BARADA, BARNA.com.au. We'll also have our own website up and running soon, so a lot of the information can be done through that, and you know, there'll be links there where you can get in touch with the directors, and if you have any sort of issues that you believe, you know, that you see something happening out here that you think we should be aware of, don't be afraid to let us know. My people.
My people. No, that's so good. And thank you so much for that as well, because I think often, like you said before, when you're new to site and you don't know whose country you're on, you don't know like who to go to contact for, you know, culturally sensitive things, it's nice. And of course, you know, companies do have, you know, departments in that do look after it. But I think, you know, if you're, that there's that open invitation. So thank you for that.
Dusty Walker, just to answer your question and what connects me to the land, it's an indescribable feeling, you know, like when I'm away and then I come back, as soon as I cross that border, I just know I'm home. It's just in me. I feel it. It guides me through my life, through my journey. I know that my old people, my ancestors, guide me into everything. You know, as long as I'm doing the right thing, I believe that they will guide me on the right path, and good things will start to happen. You know, and that's the way I've always lived my life. As long as I'm doing right by myself and by my people, and being true to yourself, that's it. You know, that's what guides me. If I'm doing wrong, then bad things are going to happen to you. That's just how I feel and how I try to live my life, by being good and encouraging, and you know, and just keep going. Yeah. It's a feeling you can't describe. I mean, you know yourself, when you go home to your country, you know, you just know that's home. There's this feeling that comes over you, you know, that's home. I'm home.
Yeah, that's it. And it is so describable. It's just like, just so much. Yeah, I love it. And so that's why, you know, being on other people's country, it's so important to, you know, acknowledge, you know, or not acknowledge, but, you know, seek permission to know, to let them know that you're there. But then also do it in the most culturally safe way as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. That's good that you're reading those questions over there, because sometimes it goes a little bit funny on this end.
Yeah. I'm just like looking down and not trying to be rude, but I've got
No, not at all. Thank you. I appreciate the help. That is so heaps of support here. Thank you all so much for your support. Peter there as well. Great job, Ani Luarna. So I'm over Peter there. Awesome. So Ani Bakri, they're organising native flag raising for Dornia.
Yeah. And like I was saying to him, well, we've got one of our directors there, so he'll be happy for that. He's but I'll make him get involved with you there.
It's who you know, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. That's how it is these days, you know. It's not. Sometimes it's not what you know; it's who you know. So you all know me now.
That's the wrong thing to say. They got your email and everything. They'll be emailing you all
resumes left, right, and center.
Yeah, you will be getting resumes definitely. But you know, like you're saying before, like it's something that you're really pushing for is jobs for you know, local people from there, so people from country, but also for other Indigenous people as well. Because that's it. Like it's about, you know, economic empowerment and all of that really help us, because we've got so many things happening at home. You know, that's really big help there.
And you know, back in the day, you know, we shared with one another. You know, we traded with one another. So you know, why not share the benefits of you know, of what we've got with somebody who hasn't got nothing? That's just the way our people are, and the way we should be now. You know, live like our old people did, and look after one another.
Yeah, that's so good. But so many questions for you. If anyone else has any questions for Luarna as well, please write them in. So much.
Yeah, that's him. What's her name? Buckeye. Yeah, that's him. Nick Brown. He's one of my directors. One of the directors of Barada. So he'll certainly help you with the flag raising. Dusty. He asked if you're going to go into politics, Flo.
Hey, who's interviewing who here? Sure. When I learn how to I'll see how I go. Watch this space. Might be back on a truck soon enough. Who knows?
You know, maybe get into the try and get on the Australian Mining Resource Council.
Oh, there you go. There's a challenge, hey?
That'd be good for you.
Holy moly. You know, I'll be having your number on speed dial saying, hey, which race is Oh, deadly. Narelle joined us tonight. Hello, ladies. Good night, Narelle. Nice to see you here. So sister had a flood in her bathroom last night. So yeah, that's good. So I guess then really like thinking about like everything, you know, where you've come from when we last touched off, you know, you were an operator and now where you are now. Where else, like where would you want to go to? Like in terms of your career planning now, where would you, you know, like to shoot for?
Oh, I've had so many jobs, you know, over the years. I even did my registered nursing. Like I started out as a cleaner. I did the AIN, assistant nursing. And I used to watch these RNs walk around, you know, like they had the hardest job in the world. Meanwhile, we're doing the backbreaking stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I can do what you do. So I went to uni and got my registered nursing degree. And then I did that and I was like, yeah, I need something else now. But, you know, I thought mining, when I was the operator doing up with these, I thought that was it. You know, I loved it. I loved getting in those big machines and being in control, you know. But now I'm doing this. I feel like this is maybe all that stepping stone brought me to this job here, the one, and I love this. Yeah. So probably see myself doing this for a few more years, and who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I really feel like. Sorry, what was that?
Life is a never-ending learning journey.
Oh, here we go. Definitely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and that's so good, and I'm so excited to see how you go with everything, because you know you're so empowered. You know you're so driven because you know you've been on the other side there. You've been an operator. You know what it's like, and then now you're in a position to actually influence that change. Like it's just so exciting to see what you'll do.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, you know, the sort of changes that we need, especially the recognition for our people, you know, whether it be traditional owners or, you know, NAIDOC. You know, that should could be done better. And so all the BHP sites, such as Dornier, they're all doing flag raising. And we just got to get these other fellas on board, and it'll be good.
Yeah, definitely lead by example. I think that's really good. So
I'm trying to read this question here.
This is a hard question. This one here, he needs to go into politics. So from the 90s, with Pauline Hanson as a horrible voice about Aboriginal Indigenous affairs, what changes have happened and what's still left to do? That's so a huge question.
That is. It's, there's so much more that we can do. Obviously, we can never forget the past of what's happened, and we must never forget. Can't ever get over it. And that's what I say in my cultural awareness training. Don't tell me to get over it when I remember when I was 5 years old lining up to get permission to leave Pamong to come back to Mackay. So that's only, 40 years ago. So there's a lot of changes. And I know what you're saying about things, what's left to do. For me personally, I'd like to see racism. That's the biggest thing, and change the way people perceive us Aboriginal people, and the media, how they perceive us and put us down. And there's hardly anything ever positive in the media about our people. That needs to change. That's something we got to all do together, not just Indigenous, non-Indigenous as well.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you for sharing that as well. There's so many things that we can do now to influence, in the position that you're in. This IWIMRA as this platform as well. We've got so many amazing people that are, within our networks. How do we start to really share that education where we're addressing the issues, but also we're, giving that education? It has to be mutually beneficial as well, and, understanding and all of that. So
definitely.
Totally agree. Yeah. But so much more to work on, which is good. Julie, what an amazing story of growth, Luarna. So yes, definitely. So because you're so inspiring. You're so inspiring, it's so determined, really, from being a truckie to where you are now, and really taking ownership of being on country and saying, what, this is my people. I'm really gonna, push to be someone that makes a decision on country.
Yeah, and make a difference. As long as I've made a difference, I can go to sleep a happy woman.
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't matter if I upset a few apple carts along the way, but at the end of the day, it's our people is our priority.
Yeah.
Young leaders like yourselves coming up and taking over the reins.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, definitely. So true. So then I guess, really, thinking ahead and, in the position that you are now, what advice would you have for women? And I know I asked you this before about women who are empowered, but, what advice, I think, I guess for the women who are out there, being on the trucks and being out there on site, what advice do you have for them in terms of, professional development and moving forward with that?
Yeah, well, there's all the training. Just keep pushing. If you want to learn, if you're on the truck and you're bored with it, keep pushing. Keep asking your supervisor. I want to learn to be a dozer or a grader or get on the digger. There's nothing can stop you. You just got to keep pushing and pushing yourself. And even go and do an outside course when you're at home on your 7 days off. Don't really want to, but 1 or 2 days, 7 days off. If you're really keen to do something else, show your initiative. Yeah.
No, that's really good. So, and I suppose if there's any more questions out there, how much time we've got? 10 minutes to go with Luarna. So there's so much knowledge that we've got there. So if there's anyone else that has any questions,
quick, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's there as well. So I've never felt more connected to them than I have with Luarna.
Yeah.
He's going to come visit you. Make you blush. He's going to come visit you. He's always had so much respect, for us, for our culture and all of that, and always keen to learn and always asking questions. And I think, not having the answers all the time, it's always just, I think that curiosity about learning more, I think that's really good. So
yeah, exactly. And there's you won't ever know if you don't ask the question, and that's good. people like yourself, Dustin, I'm going to call you, that are interested and want to learn, and that's really good.
And so in your cultural awareness training as well, so creating that safe space and having the opportunity for people to ask questions, what changes have you seen from, pre-workshop or pre-cultural awareness training to, following, that workshop?
Pre-workshop, they come in and bored and just thinking, they didn't know what to expect. When at the end of it, a lot of the guys, every single person walked out shaking my hand and the other director, Mervyn, and saying, how much they've learned, how much they were blown away that they didn't know and how ignorant they'd been. And now they'll make a point of doing more research into it, things that they didn't know, we spoke about the massacres that happened out here and all that sort of stuff that, that they don't like to hear about, because white Australia does have a black history. So, but we made them feel comfortable about it. We didn't just push it in their face and make them feel guilty about it. That wasn't what it was about. It was about educating them and taking them. And so I got an email a few times off a couple of the guys, and they said they went home and they told their partner, "Did you know this? Did you know that?" They're like, "Wow, okay." So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, good. So a question there from Narelle. Thank you, Narelle. Have you ever been in a workplace where you are the only Indigenous person and the only female in the workplace?
Yeah, that was with Thiess now. Oh, well, here now, what I'm doing now, I guess, I work with 6 directors, male directors. The other side to the other job is I'm the project manager in charge of 14 male cultural heritage workers. So it's I'm just surrounded by males. One of the things that I've started doing now, because we have a full-time cultural heritage program, workers that come in 7 days on, 4 days off. I've started putting them through paces about learning about the mines, doing SOPs, getting, because you're out there in the mines, you're going to have to learn about it. So that when they apply for jobs at the mines, it's a stepping stone for them. They go straight into a mining job. They apply for the traineeships. So we've just gotten rid of 4 guys, thank God. I love them to death. I ended up getting got them their jobs, so now I'm putting 3 more girls on. So yeah.
Oh, good.
So it's very male dominated what I'm doing now. But even in the mining industry, it's hard because it's more males than anything, and you know that yourself. It's just
yeah, and I think it's about these access points as well of how do you get in there and really I was talking to my sister earlier. It's about not having roles that are just rubbish roles, sorry, and not rubbish roles. I shouldn't have said that, but roles that are that you housekeeping roles and all like that, like things that actually that you're worth, in terms of the value that you bring and all of that. So it's about how do you start to create systems around that to then offer better positions for people. So
and that's what I tell my mob. Don't just apply for the truck drive. Anybody can truck drive. I did it. It's the easiest job in the world. Go and try and do something different. Get out of your comfort zone. Get into the coal processing plant. Go and do drillers, with the drilling team, or dynamites. Even I was even thinking about giving dragline a go, eh?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I reckon I'd be a good operator.
Go and then do it then. Oh, good one.
Hello. Can I just shout out to Casey Beveridge? Hello, my sister. She works at Hale Creek Mine.
Oh, deadly. Oh, hello, Casey. That's deadly.
And she's a dozer. She's a dozer.
She's a dozer up.
Dozer up. Deadliest one going too.
Oh, really? She probably has to come on and have a yarn too. That'd be good. Cultural awareness should be made mandatory, like in WA. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to implement here. And it's hard. It is hard because you've got so many mines out here. We don't just deal with one. We deal with 27. So it's hard. But like I said, maybe if we could do something in the induction process when they start working there, whether it be doing a SOP on cultural awareness, and a video and watching a video and stuff, just to get a bit of a cultural background into the place.
And I think really like opening it up to like language in that as well, because language is so important. Language is very intriguing, so that'd be really good. Deadly there's also, yep. Narelle there as well. So she runs a construction company and build rural sheds. So people look at me like I'm a unicorn. So yeah, much the same with,
That's it.
That's good there.
What message? Go on.
Are you going to message her? Yeah, you said. Oh, which way?
What message are school students missing about Indigenous culture? So, what message they're missing? They don't know anything, When we did a Snaglock week out here at Moranbah, one of the things we do is we go and visit all the schools. We take Torres Strait Island dancers and Aboriginal dancers doing corroboree. And we sit down and talk with the kids, and we teach them, art, learning to do paintings, and we show them the artefacts. We have the cultural heritage guides come along and show them the artefacts and questions. A lot of these kids, they just don't know, and because obviously their parents, don't teach them, and that's what we're trying to change. And that's what I'm trying to get involved in the school curriculum out here, is that they, once a year, all the kids at some stage come out to our learning centre at Bidgely and do the cultural awareness, walk around the tracks, have a bit of lunch, have a yarn, show them the food, the trees, the wildlife, and that way then, that's a start.
That's amazing. And is that open to the public as well, or is that only for schools and mine sites?
No, well, one of the things we want to try and start too is a tourism thing there, maybe, because it's a good little area, and it'd be a good revenue for our people too, and to showcase our culture. And because a lot of people, non-Indigenous, want to learn and they want to know these questions, and what a good way to, hey, come along here, we'll teach you, we'll show you a few things, and just to give them that knowledge. So that's one of the things that we're working towards, is a tourism venture there.
Yeah.
The cultural thing. I mean,
I
they
think
have it in Rocky.
Sorry.
They have that Dreamtime Cultural Centre in Rocky, don't they?
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of people go there, and that's a tourism venture. So we want to do something similar to that.
Yeah. No, that'd be so popular, and because if it's on country as well, it's a bit of a drive. It's a bit of an adventure for people. So I think that'd be very good. Oh my God, 6:58. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much for the yarn. It's been so good, just learning about what you do, and sharing all your experiences, and about your country and everything like that. You're so inspiring to so many. So do you have any last words you'd like to say to people out there, or shout out to anyone that's out there? What would you like to share?
Just believe in yourself. Don't give up. Don't let anyone tell you can't do something. Always believe in yourself, and like I said, surround yourself with positive people, because that's the only way. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have good support. Just always believe in. Don't think that you can't do anything, because I don't like that word. You can do it. You all have my email there, and
That's dangerous. Hey, you all have my email.
Just blow up.
This woman that overlooks 27 mine sites. You have
I try to make time for anyone,
No. Thank you so much, and thank you for. Yeah, I'll be emailing you anyway. But thank you so much for spending the time with us tonight and sharing all of your knowledge, and sharing your contacts for people to contact you. So inspiring. 6:59. I'm so excited. That was deadly. Thank you very much.
Tonight. I can't believe it went so quick.
I know. No, it's good. Yeah. No, we'll all definitely see. I'm sure a lot more of you around site, and a lot more, on the TV and the paper about your dinosaur bones and everything. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Stay safe and stay deadly, and we'll catch up with you all again soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching.